Welcome back, or just welcome. I'm Lizzie Frizzle, and this is the Recap Corner. Today, we are talking about Stars on Mars, Season 1, Episode 4, called Life on Mars. We are officially a third of the way through the 12-episode season, and so far, Stars on Mars is performing pretty poorly. Ratings are not good, and the general consensus seems to be that the celebronauts are all D-listers. Did I overestimate their stardom? To me, for a celebrity reality show, this is an extremely relevant cast. There's also a surprising amount of social media outrage that Lance Armstrong is in the show. I know surprising amount of social media outrage kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but there are people out there calling this man a traitor to the United States because he and other people got caught using PEDs at the Tour de France like 20 years ago. Regardless of how it's performing, I'm really enjoying the show as fun summer filler while I wait for my actual favorite reality competitions to come back. Though in this episode, elements of Stars on Mars do start to get a little repetitive. The past two episodes have opened with basically the same segment, interviews of various celebronauts talking about the mental toll of the competition, especially eating space food. If the cast is struggling this much after just 7 day souls, then I wish the show would show us the food they're eating. With the exception of one blurred out bag of Ruffles, we haven't seen anyone eat anything. To boost morale, Rhonda offers wrestling lessons, which Portia excitedly accepts, and they have a really animated, playful wrestling match all throughout the hab.
So this is like a wrestling knee. So you hit me with the flat part of your leg. Ready? 1 forward again. Anytime anyone's down to wrestle in the living room, I love to wrestle in the living room.
After, as Rhonda starts to explain the technical structure of a match, the hab's alarm starts to sound. It reminded me of in Friends when Ross talks about paleontology and the friends all fall asleep.
I would love to choreograph a match for us. I'll let you kick my ass all over.
I'm just invested. I want more. I'm hyped.
Well, there's like a structure. So the beginning, I'm the bad guy. You're the good guy.
Beginning of your rivalry.
So the beginning is
The alarm signals that it's time for the next base commander election, and the election signals the formation of alliances. According to Marshawn, Adam, Ariel, and Tinashe are a clique, he and Lance are a clique, and Natasha, Rhonda, and Tom are swing votes. He doesn't mention Portia. After batting so hard for Ariel last episode, now in an attempt to expand their alliance, Adam nominates Rhonda to be base commander. Lance is annoyed by Adam's obvious attempt to expand his alliance, but he and Marshawn still agree to vote for Rhonda because they figure it's better to have someone in charge with unknown allegiance than someone who's definitely working against them. Rhonda does become the new base commander, but only after Adam checks in with Ariel to make sure she doesn't mind waiting again for her turn.
Wait, do you want to be base commander?
If I don't get eliminated, I can be next time. It's fine. I literally am good with whatever.
I don't get it. This makes 3 of 4 elections where someone's doted on Ariel during, even though she seems like one of the most laid-back people there, especially when it comes to the elections. The only thing she's shown any strong opinion about all season is cockroaches later in this episode. Speaking of, after the election, the Celebronauts AI companion instructs Rhonda to instruct everyone else to clean the hab after a possible contaminant is detected. It doesn't take long for Ariel to find a Martian cockroach in the hallway. That's a plastic cockroach with 3 antennae. Ariel is pretty freaked out, and we learn later it's because she had a traumatic experience involving roaches on a movie set when she was 8.
When I was a little kid, I worked on this set. I was like 7 or 8, and it was this, low budget movie. And it was like me and this kid who was like a year and a half older than me. He was playing my older brother. And we were supposed to be kids who had been like abandoned by our mom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ariel and I have a lot in common. She was a child star and I was a child actress. I never really was a star.
They brought in buckets of roaches.
Shut up.
Yeah, and like there was a few on me and like around me, and they crawled across his face, and just everywhere. And ever since then, I've had major phobia.
I'm sorry, honey.
So Lance picks up this prop roach and he starts to taunt Ariel with it. He moves closer toward her. She tells him to stop. He moves a little bit closer. Then Rhonda gets involved, also tells him to stop, after which he does. Then he retreats into the sleeping quarters. I think how big of a jerk Lance was being in this scene depends on whether or not he knew about Ariel's fear of roaches beforehand. Regardless, even if his intentions were playful, you never want to be the reason someone isn't having fun, and I don't get why he refused to apologize to her. Instead, Lance retreats to his bunk to FaceTime his 13-year-old son, who advises him to show no emotions. Then Marshawn enters the room and delivers the biggest eyebrow raise of the season so far.
I'm in my bunk. Beast Mode, come in here.
No, I'm not coming in your bed, bro. Get off the block.
I hope he's missed out on sitting on all kinds of comfortable surfaces because another dude was already sitting there. Once Marshawn gets comfortable on a stool across from the bed, he starts chatting with Lance's son. But Lance isn't happy with what he chooses to say.
What's wrong with your daddy, bro?
I don't know.
This just fart all day and...
Hey, watch. He's 13, bro.
Well, then he done heard what is.
I was so struck by this interaction because it's very similar to what happened between Lance and Ariel. Ariel expressed a boundary, please don't chase me with that prop cockroach, and Lance ignored her. Even if he only did for a few seconds, he still ignored her. And now, just minutes later in the episode, Lance expressed a boundary to Marshawn, please don't curse in front of my teenage son, and Marshawn ignored Lance. Later, after the tension has mostly settled, Rhonda's gotta pick 2 people to complete drone training outside the hab, while everyone else stays inside and plays with 2 robot dogs. Rhonda sends Lance and Marshawn outside, which I thought was very smart base commanding. We learned last episode that Lance likes going outside, and he seems to have trouble getting along with some of the other celebronauts. Marshawn also has personality issues with some people, and he just happens to be Lance's ride or die. At least on Mars. Back inside, the cast reunites with their robot dog from last episode, Marisha, who the show is strangely pretending was always named Marsha.
This is your emotional support dog. You'll be taking turns to look after it.
Name him Roomba. Marisha, because we're in Mars. Hey, Marisha, this way. I named the dog. We just need to think of a name for the new robot dog. Marsha and Jan.
Regardless, since Marsha was named after Mars, the Celebronauts named their new robot dog Eartha, after the planet next to Mars, Jupiter. The cast passes the time by racing the dogs through the hab. Tinashe, a self-proclaimed gamer, excels on the controls, despite Tom's attempt to take the controller from her to offer pointers. I hate that. Meanwhile, Ariel, not a gamer, crashes Eartha into the wall. It's clear that the cast enjoys the robot dogs, and I enjoy watching the cast have fun, but it did kind of seem like this scene only existed because the producers couldn't figure out a feasible way to have all 9 Celebronauts complete drone training. It's kind of a one-person job. Outside, Lance and Marshawn need to fly the drone to confirm the exterior biodome repairs made last episode are still intact. Spoiler alert, they are. Lance is a little bewildered by the drone tech, but it's immediately apparent that Marshawn has plenty of experience flying them. I thought this was a really funny beat because it's like, yeah, Marshawn Lynch is a pretty young, pretty rich person. Of course he just buys drones. After checking on the biodome repairs, Lance and Marshawn officially form an official alliance. Their aim is to get out other cast members they view as overly nagging. So basically, Ariel and anyone who associates with Ariel. After the midday chores, the AI companion detects an alien life form inside the hab, and it's not more tri-antennaed cockroaches. The cast must perform a UV light inspection. That's scanning a black light over the walls of the hab. Eventually, they find fungi in the kitchen. Soon, it spreads elsewhere. A message from Shaddy Daddy in Mission Control tells the Celebronauts that fungal life has been found on Mars. Unfortunately, the cast has gotta destroy it before it contaminates their food and water supply. To do so, they'll drive the rover to a cave entrance. Inside, the mother fungus has spawned in 2 different places. The cast splits into 2 groups, each tasked with destroying 1 spawn point with a flamethrower. Then the entire group exits the cave and attaches their spacesuits to the rover to refill their oxygen meters. The cast only has 30 minutes of oxygen to complete the entire mission, but if they do, then they'll earn a perseverance patch. I don't get how this mission is about perseverance. Shouldn't the cast earn, like, the aggression patch for this? Or, like, the acts of war patch? At the end of Shaddy Daddy's message, he reveals that regardless of the mission's success or failure, 2 Celebronauts will be extracted afterward. He says it's a result of the biodome fire and ration overeating. But I think it might be because there's no new episode this week and the producers have an elimination schedule to stick to. Portia volunteers to be mission specialist, a little because she's scared of the mission, and a lot because she wants immunity through the double extraction. But Rhonda ignores her and picks Ariel instead, because since she was mission specialist last time, she's got experience. Also, immunity for the 2nd consecutive episode. From inside the hab, Rhonda and Ariel will use a map to guide the rest of the cast through the cave. The Celebronauts suit up and board the rover. En route to the cave is like a terrible action movie. Tom tries so hard to catchphrase, but his use of mother fungus, with emphasis to sound like motherfucker, just reminded me of terrible cable TV censoring.
Mother fungus doesn't know what's coming.
Meanwhile, Lance and Marshawn are in their own buddy cop movie. Marshawn is burping, Lance is farting. Is this the source of their friendship? Gas? The rover drops the cast off at the top of the hill. The cave entrance is at the bottom. Inside, Adam, Tinashe, Lance, and Tom are split into Group B. That leaves Marshawn, Natasha, and Portia to be Group A. Right away, Portia worries that she might be in the loser group once she realizes that both of her teammates have been in the bottom 3 before. Both teams have a flamethrower, a blacklight flashlight, and a tough time. Group B just gets lost, like, immediately, which is exactly what would happen to me because I get lost in broad daylight. In Group A, Adam has, like, night blindness, and Tom is just still playing action movie. He keeps turning the flashlight behind them in this pitch black cave to check their 6. While Tom plays action movie, Tinashe plays to win. She takes the flashlight from Tom and immediately finds a fungal trail on the cave wall. It leads to the mother fungus! Soon after, Group B finds their own mother fungus, and both teams flamethrow their spawn points together. Tom tells the fungus to burn in hell, despite wondering at the start of the mission if it was even hostile.
We've discovered life on Mars,
Oh my God, we discovered life on Mars, guys.
and now it's time for a bunch of celebrities to mercilessly annihilate it.
No.
What if it's not hostile? See you in hell, motherfuckers.
At this point, 25 of the mission's 30 minutes have gone by. The crew only has 5 minutes to exit the cave, travel all the way uphill, and reconnect their oxygen tanks on their spacesuits into the rover. Miraculously, it only takes them about 2 minutes to leave the cave, but then about half the cast struggles to get up the hill. Professional athletes, Adam and Lance, are out in front, literally pulling Natasha up the hill in between them.
Who knew all you needed to have was 2 world-class athletes on either side of you to make it up a small hill?
They're the first 3 to plug their oxygen tanks into the rover. But I didn't understand why Adam and or Lance didn't go back down the hill to help the rest of their crew. Then, oppositely, you got Tom, who says he chose to remain with the stragglers because the thought of leaving anyone behind was too upsetting. But if that's true, then why wasn't he helping anyone instead of just walking slowly next to them?
You guys are walking. Run your ass.
I don't want to leave my team behind.
I went back to help my team.
I can't leave my team behind.
If it comes down to it, I'll just sacrifice myself. I'm not trying to be like a martyr, but I just can't. I can't do that to someone.
Ahead of a commercial break, the Celebronauts have just 10 seconds left to finish the mission, and about half of them have a long way to go to make it back to the rover. But then, after the break, the Celebronauts have 20 seconds left.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Warning, 20 seconds until oxygen depletion.
In another miracle, the cast finishes the mission with 1 second to spare. Good thing too, since the stakes for this one were death. Post-mission, back at the Hab, Tinashe, Marshawn, Portia, and Lance are all mission critical. Even though Ariel and Lance clashed over cockroaches, Ariel wants to play honorably, so she doesn't try to target Lance. I'm, convinced that the only reason the editors included that interview is because later in the season, Lance is going to target Ariel. Adam, Natasha, and Tom are the mission's bottom 3, all of whom have been in the bottom 3 at least once before. When it's time to pitch, Tom says that he knows he's got BTE, that's bottom 3 energy, but he's still soaking up wisdom from people who are more famous than him like a sponge. In an interview, Adam admits that this time he doesn't think he was mission critical. But to his castmates, he promises to keep bringing that flair. Not to be confused with the flares that people light after they've been eliminated. Finally, Natasha says that she's already called an Uber and to please extract her from Mars. They do.
Natasha.
Please let me leave Mars.
Is she on her knees or is she standing up?
To be honest, I've already called my Uber. So, please, let me go. I'm 4'11". I've never done a push-up. I can't do this anymore.
That leaves Adam and Tom as the bottom 2 with 1 extraction remaining. Tinashe points out that more than most, Adam is still very enthusiastic about living on Mars. Initially, I was like, that's a great point. But the more I thought about it, isn't Tom also really excited to be there? I mean, he talks constantly about how Stars on Mars is an escape from his real life that's been mired in his friend's affair. And he always says that, mired.
My friend had an affair that just happened to sweep the nation, and it's incredibly messed up. But the thing is, I've become mired in it. I did not have an affair. I am not him. And it's just so strange that I've been absolutely mired in this.
Still, the Celebronauts vote Adam Mishkrit. He's been in the bottom less, and maybe they just like him more. Outside, Natasha says that Mars broke her, and if it hadn't, I think the spacesuit would have eventually. Tom says that life on Mars made him feel lighter, and I don't think he's just talking about the reduced gravity. He says he hears birds and sees sunshine again. I'm real happy that he found his peace on Mars before he had to go, because I was pretty ready for him to be extracted. Like I said, he was repeating a lot of the same talking points, both in interviews and in conversations with his castmates. Also, I found something he said at the top of this episode to be palpably off-putting, regardless of whether or not a producer asked him to say it.
People of Earth, if you see this, cherish the world around you, okay? Mars is bleak, empty and vast, cold. It is rugged out here. No matter how bad you think you have it back on Earth, you're living like a king compared to what life is like here on Mars.
Yeah, Tom, every single person on Earth, regardless of their situation, is living like royalty compared to you and the other celebrities who are being paid to appear in a house reality competition. For now, just 7 Celebronauts remain on Mars. And for me, the brightest star of this episode, with back-to-back brightness from last time, was Tinashe. She's aware of the social and political games going on. She performed very well in the mission, and as a result, she was the first to be voted Mishkrit. After the double extraction, the Celebronauts are looking forward to a relaxing evening. But as the episode ends, an alarm sounds inside the hab. The command center monitors all display the message, "Resupply mission inbound." In the next episode, 4 new Celebronauts are arriving with more food. Good thing the show constantly reminded us that rations are limited and made that the narrative reason eliminations happen. Unfortunately, the incoming Celebronauts all get lost in their landing, and the cast will need to venture outside to rescue them, just like they rescued Natasha in the series premiere. So, who will these 4 new Celebronauts be? I'm hoping for Lil Jon, Monet Exchange, Susan Sarandon, and Teddy Roosevelt. Thanks for watching. Come back in 2 Sundays, that's July 16th, for another Stars on Mars recap. And in the meantime, if you're so inclined, please like and subscribe. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye.